The game begins with a solid central pawn move that establishes dynamic balance and maintains equality. By Black is an accurate response, maintaining the dynamic balance and equality in the early stages. White plays, continuing to contest the center and maintaining the equal, balanced nature of the game. Black's is a solid developing move, contributing to the dynamic balance with only a slight edge for White. White's prepares kingside Fianchetto, a solid move that keeps the position equal and dynamically balanced. Black's develops the bishop, but it's a slight inaccuracy that concedes a small advantage to White. White's is a natural development, though a minor inaccuracy that slightly reduces White's advantage. Black castles kingside, a solid move that maintains the slight advantage for White. White's is a developing move, but a slight inaccuracy that slightly decreases White's positional superiority. Black's supports central control, yet it's a slight inaccuracy that allows White to maintain their advantage. White castles kingside, a solid move that maintains the slight advantage and balances the position. Black develops a knight to, a solid move that maintains the current slight advantage for White. White advances the d-pawn to, a solid move solidifying the central presence and White's slight advantage. Black's is a surprising retreat, a slight inaccuracy that increases White's advantage significantly. White develops a knight to, a solid move that maintains the existing slight advantage. Black pushes the e-pawn to, a slight inaccuracy that further extends White's positional superiority. White captures on, a solid move that maintains White's strong positional control. Black recaptures with, a solid move that maintains the current strong position for White. White's is an aggressive knight sortie, but a slight inaccuracy that slightly reduces White's dominance. Black repositions the knight to, a solid move to maintain White's advantage. White centralizes the knight to, a solid move that reinforces White's commanding position. Black develops the bishop to, a slight inaccuracy that allows White to increase their control. White develops the bishop to, a solid move that maintains White's positional superiority. Black's is a slight inaccuracy, allowing White to solidify a clear advantage, effectively a pawn up. White places the rook on, a solid move that maintains White's clear advantage. Black pushes the b-pawn to, a solid move that doesn't alter White's clear advantage. White advances the e-pawn to, a solid move consolidating White's clear advantage. Black develops the knight to, a solid move that maintains White's clear advantage. White exchanges knight for knight, a solid tactical exchange that preserves White's advantage. Black recaptures with the bishop, a solid move maintaining the pawn structure. White exchanges bishop for bishop, a solid exchange that keeps White's advantage. Black recaptures with the rook, a solid move that doesn't change White's clear advantage. White advances the f-pawn to, a solid move reinforcing White's advantage. Black's is a significant mistake, drastically increasing White's lead to a clear pawn advantage. White's is a severe blunder, losing a substantial portion of the hard-earned advantage. Black repositions the rook to, a solid move maintaining White's advantage. White moves the queen to, a solid move that re-establishes pressure and White's advantage. Black counters with, a solid move to contest the center and maintain White's advantage. White advances the knight to, a solid move maintaining White's slight advantage. Black recaptures with the rook, a solid move that maintains the game state. White recaptures with the queen, a solid move that maintains White's slight advantage. Black captures on, a solid move that simplifies the position slightly. White centralizes the rook, a solid move maintaining white's advantage. Black captures the pawn, a solid move aimed at material gain. White recaptures with the king, a solid move to maintain white's positional control. Black advances the a-pawn to, a solid move to gain space on the queenside. White advances the h-pawn to, a solid positional move. Black moves the queen to, a solid positional adjustment. White exchanges queens. A slight inaccuracy that simplifies the endgame but reduces white's advantage. Black recaptures with the rook, a solid move leading to an equal endgame. White activates the rook, a solid move to gain a slight advantage. Black advances the h-pawn to, a solid move contesting space. White centralizes the king, a solid move to improve king activity in the endgame. Black activates the rook, a solid move to improve rook activity. White centralizes the king, a solid move that increases king activity. Black repositions the king to, a solid move for king safety. White activates the rook, a solid move centralizing the piece. Black's pawn push is a severe blunder, creating weaknesses and a decisive advantage for white. White captures the pawn, a solid move capitalizing on black's blunder and white's advantage. Black's is a slight inaccuracy, allowing white to maintain a clear advantage. White captures the pawn, a solid continuation of white's dominant position. Black captures with the rook, a solid move that doesn't alleviate white's strong advantage. White moves the king to, a solid king repositioning to maintain the advantage. Black's is a slight inaccuracy, allowing white to maintain their decisive advantage. White repositions the rook to, a slight inaccuracy that doesn't diminish white's advantage. Black's is a severe blunder, gifting white a strong advantage equivalent to 2 pawns. White activates the rook, a solid move maintaining white's dominant position. Black's push is a mistake, leading to a decisive advantage for white, like a minor piece up. White centralizes the king, a solid move consolidating the decisive advantage. Black advances the c-pawn to, a solid move in a difficult position. White captures on, a solid move maintaining the decisive advantage. Black recaptures on, a solid move maintaining the pawn structure. White centralizes the king, a solid move increasing king activity. Black repositions the rook to, a solid defensive maneuver. White places the rook on, a solid move maintaining the decisive advantage. Black advances the b-pawn to, a solid attempt to create counterplay. White repositions the rook to, a solid move maintaining the decisive advantage. Black's is a slight inaccuracy, allowing white to press their advantage. White repositions the rook to, a slight inaccuracy that doesn't change the outcome. Black's push is a slight inaccuracy, further solidifying white's overwhelming advantage. White centralizes the rook, an excellent move that increases white's overwhelming advantage. Black develops the bishop to, a solid move trying to improve piece activity. White advances the a-pawn to, a solid move controlling space. Black advances the b-pawn to, a solid move to gain queenside space. White repositions the rook to, an excellent active move that increases white's advantage. Black's is a slight inaccuracy, allowing white to maintain their overwhelming advantage. White repositions the rook, a slight inaccuracy that doesn't affect the winning position. Black's is a mistake, allowing white to solidify their overwhelming winning advantage. White captures the pawn, a solid move maintaining white's overwhelming advantage. Black's is a solid move, but white's advantage is overwhelming, like a rook up. White activates the rook, a solid move maintaining white's overwhelming advantage. Black's is a mistake, allowing white to increase their overwhelming advantage. White advances the b-pawn to, a solid move exploiting the opponent's weaknesses. Black's is a severe blunder, leading to a catastrophic loss of advantage for black. White repositions the rook to, a solid move consolidating the overwhelming advantage. Black's is a severe blunder, sacrificing material and leading to an insurmountable deficit. White moves the king to, an excellent active move that capitalizes on black's blunders. Black's is a solid move, but white's position is overwhelmingly winning. White activates the rook, a solid move securing the win. Black captures the rook, a solid move in a lost position. White moves the king to, a solid move confirming the overwhelming advantage. Black checks with the rook, a solid move that doesn't change the outcome. White moves the king to, a solid king move sealing the overwhelming victory.